I don't understand how you are supposed to look out for the state of California, for the people in the state of California. My mom's a person. She's not a number, and it tears my heart apart to know that after all she's been through, that she's going to be just put away, like she doesn't even matter. And I don't think it's fair. It's not right. And that's not what this state is supposed to do. That's not what this government is supposed to do. It's supposed to care for their people.
Faye Harold is an in-home care worker. She takes care of her 83-year-old mom who suffers from Alzheimer's. Faye was just one of many real Californians who waited in a long line to express their opposition to the Republican budget plan during an Assembly Budget Committee hearing. They spoke loud and clear, and some, like Faye, did it with tears rolling down their face.
These are weak people that don't have anybody to fight for them. Why would you take from them? I mean, after so much has already been taken. I don't understand that. It doesn't even make sense. It's inhumane. It's unreasonable.
Amy Day also spoke about her young child.
I had a son 9 years ago, born at 26 weeks gestation, 2 pounds 9 ounces. He's lived on machines his whole life. He was on oxygen for 4 years, lived with an oximeter, feeding pump. He's had several brain surgeries. And I've just had, would not give him, to a convalescent home ever. So I became his provider and been learning as much as I can to take care of him.
Amy says the proposed reduction in pay for in-home care workers like herself from $9 an hour to $8 an hour represents the difference between being able to pay their rent or becoming homeless. Amy says she had to quit her job because no daycare will take care of her son. Before the hearing, Assembly Speaker Karen Bass expressed her concerns about the Republican proposal.
From what we've been able to determine, that totals about $5.5 billion in cuts in education funding and $1.5 billion in cuts for health and human services. They've also included a borrowing proposal for the lottery. We're eager to see the details of the plan that will result from this hearing and how the Republican budget priorities will match up with California's values. Another concern that I have is that over these last few years where the Democrats have cut severely into programs, it doesn't give us the opportunity then to restore what was cut, because I think oftentimes it's painted as though the Democrats have not been willing to cut, and even though we have not wanted to, we have certainly recognized that the way we solved this budget crisis, as well as the one we had last year, is that we had to have a compromise, and we have cut over $12 billion over the last few years. So if you have a very rigid spending cap, how then do you restore funding to programs that really need the resources?
Assembly Budget Committee members were able to put a face to California's budget crisis, and people like Frances Gracechild insisted that it's a crisis that leaves no one untouched.
Every family has somebody who's struggling with a disability or a chronic illness. Everyone has a senior somewhere in their family that doesn't have sufficient income to pay for the services they're going to need in their home to stay there. Every family has a school teacher who's struggling on a school teacher's salary in California. Every family has a state worker somewhere in them. So the way that we play each other off in these budgets so that we can say, oh, my family's safe, but that's not true. Our family are all of these people. And when you attack these essential services and programs and wages, you attack all the families in California. And so it's a concern to all of us. And if there is a family who thinks it doesn't touch them, they're in denial.
This report was produced by the Speaker's Office of Member Services.